Single, a mom, an entrepreneur, juggling it all and talking about topics while on the go. Hi, I'm Lisa Waldron, and this is Go 10 Lisa Podcast. Are you ready to listen to the best podcast that's real, inspiring, and sometimes cringe? Okay, get ready, get comfy, and go! Hello, everyone. This is On the Go, and I am Lisa Waldron. So, we're starting off season 25, and this is On the Go. Did you know that on April 10th, 2024, Donald Trump came to town here in Atlanta? And guess what happened later on that night? It's just me, guys. I'm just associating him coming and what happened. All the power went out. In the whole entire neighborhood, the power went out. Good thing I'm a candle maker and I have candles up in my house. I have flashlights as well, but I was like, what the heck? And I think it happened the last time also. Is it just me, or am I just thinking way too much and maybe it's just a coinkydink? But that was very, very interesting, and it was out for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to check it again the next time he's in town or anybody else in the government is in town and see if the lights went out. Now, on to today's episode. Hello, everyone. It is season 25. I'm just so happy that I'm doing the podcast finally. It's late, but let me just give you the rundown of what's going on. Oh my gosh, I touched on it. By the way, I'm Lisa Waldron. I'm your host for Go 10 Lisa Podcast. It's season 25. There is so much going on. There is no excuse for why I'm late. Absolutely no excuse why I'm late. But of course, I have excuses. So here's the rundown of what happened. I have everything planned out, guys. Here, you can hear the papers. You can hear it. It's also on my phone. I have all my notes. I have everything. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, when a topic happens, when something happens, I normally jot it down. And there's so many things that happened since I've been late on the podcast. But here is the real reason, guys. I find it so easy and convenient for the app that I'm using, the platform that I'm using for my podcast, where I can use my phone. I'm 98% of the time using my phone to record my podcast. And I do have cameras. I do have the whole podcast, microphone, everything set up, guys. But I'm too much in my head. Because the goal was for season 25 for me to be on YouTube in person doing the podcast. But here is what's going on in my head, guys. I got to do makeup. I got to do the hair. I got to get the outfits. I got to get the lighting. I got to do this. This is a one-woman show. A one-woman show here. Maybe it's time for me to elevate and get somebody, and just have faith that the money and everything's going to come in for me to pay that person and what have you, because I am procrastinating. And then I have in my head, okay, we're going to do all the podcasts in one day. I have to start early in order to accomplish that. Then I'm like, my schedule is all over the place right now. When I say all over the place, to the point that I have to stop and say, whoa, I am very, very tired. I'm very tired. What the hell am I doing? Just trying to work? So there's a lot of areas that have been slacking. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. It's like I have so much on my plate in 2024 that I myself put there, and also because of other circumstances were put on me as well. So that's why season 25 is late. I've made an executive decision because I can do that because it's my podcast and I'm the CEO and I'm the owner, to just not do the YouTube in person. Why put the pressure on myself when I know I am not ready? Now, here is the thing. The microphones are set up. The lighting is set up. It's just me getting on the makeup. Ladies, if you know, then go tell somebody. I can relate. I can relate with Lisa right now. So, I'm over here looking at my notes and I'm like, which topic, I have it all lined up. Which topic I want to start off season 25 with? Which one do I want to start it off with? The one that I have on my list to start off with, I really don't want to talk about it. Number two, I don't want to talk about it either. I'm not in the mood to talk about it right now because it's like, well, maybe I should talk about it because I did do the research on it and I don't know where the heck the research is right now because this is an impromptu jumping on the podcast to record. So here is the other reason why the podcast is delayed, why all these decisions have to be made, is because the platform that I'm using that I just mentioned, I love the ease of it. Then, of course, they got bought out. Then it was okay for a while, you know what I mean? Now they got bought out again. Now they want to charge people. And I'm like, what the heck? So I'm like trying to find other podcast platforms where I really don't have to dish out that much money or any money at all. That's the goal. And most importantly, for it to be convenient for me. I like the ease of just on the go, picking up my phone, doing a recording. I don't have to be in front of a camera. I know that it has to elevate. I know it has to elevate. I know it has to elevate to where it has to be in front of the camera. I know that. I know that. I know that, people. But then I started thinking, hey, if that platform is going away, I want it to be at least the first 25 seasons on that platform instead of me just ending it on season 24, and then start the new podcast platform with season 26. I've already, think the route that I'm going to go with the new platform, considering everything that's going on. Everybody just want money. Oh my gosh, everybody just want money. But anyway, guys, so that's what's going on behind the scenes. So I do apologize for those of you who have been listening to my podcast and have been listening to my podcast before I even started putting it on YouTube. And I started putting it on YouTube beginning in season 24. Now, in season 24, I just put up pictures of myself and maybe the subject that I'm talking about on YouTube. And it seems to be doing okay for a starter podcast episode. I need to go back to doing the on-the-go segments and everything. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And there are periods in my life where I'm like, I just want to just quit it all and just quit everything, but then I'm just drawn back in because I kind of love it. And here's another thing that I'm so grateful and thankful for, which I shouldn't be, but everything happens for a reason. While the podcast was being delayed, it was a late start, I lost my voice last week. Out of the blue, for the first time. Well, actually, it's the second time, but this time was the worst time. The first time happened like close to 18 years ago or something or whatever. And I remember because I was at work. It was sinus infection related and stuff like that. But this time around, I was like, what's happening? And then I have a lingering cough. So here I am spending the first 7 minutes just whining and telling you guys what's going on with the podcast episode. So I'm really still trying to debate like what I want to talk about today. That's on my list. Because so many things happen and I just realized that I didn't jot down some of the important things. Okay, so since we're talking about how I'm feeling or whatever, this was number 2. I'll just make it number 1. Welcome to season 25. Why am I a content creator, or am I a content creator or am I an influencer? That was on my list, guys. That was on my list. So it kind of segue into what I'm talking about, because it's like sometimes I ask myself, am I a content creator or am I an influencer? And the reason why I have influencer on there is because I noticed that some of the videos that I do, produce, edit, do everything with, and I put it out there. I always talk about my copycatters out there, which are still copycatting, but there are other people who are watching my videos as well. And there are certain things that I mention or whatever, and I'm hearing like, I kind of feel like I'm an influencer in kind of a way, because certain things that I vlog about or talk about, people are doing it or following or whatever you want to call it, or trying it out for themselves or what have you. So, content creators create original content for sharing knowledge or building a brand, while influencers post sponsored content for money and popularity. So, therefore, I am not an influencer. I'm an influencer in my mind, but there is no sponsor. I don't have a sponsor. Nobody's paying me money, and it's not for popularity. So I am a content creator, if there was ever a doubt. I knew I was, but that little part of my head just was like, am I an influencer or on the verge of becoming an influencer? So anyway, I had jotted down some notes of some top YouTube content creator stats. Did you know that there are around 60 million with an M as in Mary, 60 million YouTube creators? Did you guys know that? And then I wrote some notes and I don't even understand what I wrote. I wrote T-Series. Okay, I guess that's the name of the show. T-Series is the most viewed YouTube channel. It has 230 billion with a B, 230 billion views. T-Series has the most YouTube subscribers, which is, I feel like my S's are my like sing to sugar talk. So, yeah, remember that cartoon? With all the S's? Anyway, so T-Series has the most YouTube subscribers, which is 250 million. Mr. Beast is a YouTube creator. He has the highest earning of 54 million. And Baby Shark, remember that song? It's the shark, baby shark, baby shark. I don't know if it ends like that, but that's I always had to put my own twist on things. Why am I at my age know the Baby Shark dance, or maybe Baby Shark song? Because it's so addictive. Just like people, I'm gonna say it, guys. Just like some of you, get ready, because I still love. Remember the group Hanson? Oh my God! Oh my God! I just had the song in my head. Oh my gosh! I just had the song in my head and now I lost it. Oh my gosh! But anyway, it'll come back to me. But do up, da da do up, do up, da da do. I'm not doing it justice. But anyway, every time I would sing it at work in my previous jobs or in my head, that song sticks with you for a long, long time. It was a group band with three brothers. Do up, da da do up, da 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 do up, da da do, da da. You know what I'm talking about. Look it up, the Hansons. But anyway, it's very addictive. So I bring all of that up to say that that's how I know the Baby Shark dance song. And it is the most viewed YouTube video, over 13 billion with a B views. Can you believe that? So that's all the notes. That's all the notes that I had, but let's take a little dive into it, okay? Because this is the first episode of season 25, so I'm not even going to keep you guys long. But what I have noticed since I've been on YouTube for 6 years now, the podcast is also 6 years, because I started the YouTube on February 16th, even though I did start open it up in January of that year of 2018. It officially started on February 16th, and I purposely started the podcast a few months later, which was so I wanted the podcast. I talked about this before in previous podcast episode, but I wanted the podcast to be on May the 4th be with you, which is May 4th, right? But because of how it fell on that Friday or Saturday, it actually ended up being like the Cinco de Mayo, because May 4th is like the Star Wars May the 4th be with you, and then May 5th, 5-5, is Cinco de Mayo. So if I go back on my calendar to 2018 and look up May to what that Friday was, which was the 5th. So the podcast started on, I think I aired it on that Saturday, so it was the 5th. So Cinco de Mayo, but I wanted it to be May the 4th be with you, so I can remember it. But it was actually the 4th, the 5th, whichever day it was around that time. So both the podcasts, both the videos are 6 years old. So yay, the podcast is 6 years old. And the podcast is 6 years old. And if I can't look at the stats right now, but I know that I have over close to 5,000 people, 5,000 clicks as far as listening, who has listened to my podcast episodes. But people are not subscribing. You have to subscribe. And as for my YouTube, it's 906. So it's slowly but surely climbing. I'm not in a race with anyone except for myself. So, and then it does get a little bit frustrating when I see people that started after me and they already have millions of views, millions of followers, and what have you. And then there's always, I think every content creator has gone through this, where they're starting off and they're like, oh, it's boring. Does this make sense? And am I really showing any value? Oh, I don't want this to be a niche. I don't want to be stuck in this same thing that I do all the time, And I was speaking to another YouTuber that I ran into a couple of months ago, and I was telling her, we were just talking things out, and, she gave me a tip. And I said to her, wow, it's interesting that you said that, because I was thinking about doing the same thing. And, but I won't tell you what it is. You guys will just have to find out. But basically, I am a content creator. And when I first started 6 years ago, I had this little thing where I said it was a vlog pod. What was it? A vlog pod. I know it was another one. I know it was a vlog. It was the pod for the podcast, and there was another one. Vlog, plot, and something. Why am I forgetting my own thing? And I created that trio saying, oh my gosh. Vlog, pod, and something else. What the heck was I doing? I was vlogging. I was doing the podcast. I know there was something else I was doing, guys. I can't think at the moment. But anyway, I'm just asking that if you guys are interested and you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, the YouTube channel, which is Go 10 Lisa, the podcast, which is Go 10 Lisa Podcast. It's also on YouTube. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe. Motivate me a little bit. Give me some kind of acknowledgement that you guys find the content at least a little bit interesting, that you're willing to subscribe. So therefore I know that it's not just me that I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for somebody out there. And then when I started, I was like, if only one person would listen or subscribe, and and then it become a numbers game, and then you're like, oh, and then you're trying to compete with other people, and I'm like, no, this is not for me. And then there are people who do other stuff to get views and stuff, and I'm like, no, that's not me. I want it to be all organic and true. I don't want it to be any robots or anything or any fake people. And then there's this thing that I noticed also on TikTok, because I'm also on TikTok, guys, is that I noticed that a lot of people subscribe, and a lot of people are doing this for a while. They will subscribe, and then they would actually be bold enough to type in the comments, follow me back, I subscribe, follow me back, let's support each other. And then I would subscribe, and then next thing I know, they would take me off while I'm still a subscriber to their channel. So this is why a lot of famous people, they don't follow a lot of people. They only follow maybe their families and stuff. There are people that I do follow who are also content creators, only because I truly, truly like their content. If I don't follow you and I know you, then I don't really want to follow you. But if I don't follow you, I most likely don't know you or your content or whatever. And then there were contests and stuff like, oh, follow 5 people and you'll try and win this prize or this giveaway. And that was a good ploy and catch to get people to follow their friends and influencers and stuff. But if it's not something that I'm not interested in, then whatever. And then every year I go through all of my social media, especially on Facebook and especially Instagram, and I do a cleanup. And I do a cleanup of does this really serve me? Do I really like this content? You know what I mean? And whatever. So that's just me, you know. And because sometimes it's like I'm following more than my subscribers, and mainly that's not the reason. I just like to clean up and declutter in all areas of my life. So, do I like being a content creator? I actually do. I think if I get out of my head, as far as looking at other people, I think if I get out of my head, like, oh my gosh, they are surpassing me and I started way before them, I will be fine. I think if I get out of my head of my own content, I think you are your own critic when you're doing your stuff. And then there are some, I have one particular person in my mind when I'm making this next statement. And I think that there are some people that are like, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z in order to get more views. And you should have the same type in this. And you should do this. And you should do that. And you should do this. And you should do that. Yeah. Trust me, I know what I should be doing. I just don't. Take, for example, the makeup. I know I should be wearing makeup in my vlogs. I know that. I know I should be wearing makeup. I have never been a makeup person. I have always been a lipstick person. Even slap on some lipstick and whatever, and I'm good to go. But I realized that when you're in front of the camera, and a lot of my vlogs, I don't have on any makeup. A lot of my vlogs in the past, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I look like? Oh my goodness. I could have put on some lighting or whatever. I know I have to be presentable. And then people are probably looking at me like, what is up with this woman? Which is me. This is what I'm thinking you guys are thinking. What is up with this woman? She can't even put herself together. You know what I mean? But then there's a part of me that's thinking always in the back of my head, like the show Roseanne, she did great because she never dressed up her show, and it was just like a country bumpkin, like regular sloppy house kind of thing, which is not what I am. But the concept of just being you and not doing anything and still just being authentic with who you are. Because I've seen people on YouTube who don't wear any makeup, their houses are messy as heck, and what have you. And they have more views and followers than I do. So that just proves the Roseanne Barr theory in my head. You know what I mean? And then again, I cannot do that because that's not who I am. So I think as content creators, you're always going to struggle. And I see people who have reached the top and they're stealing from small creators. I've spoken about that 100 times already. And here's why. Because every morning when I was driving to corporate world, I would listen to a particular station in Atlanta, a particular radio station in Atlanta. And one of the hosts would say every now and then, oh, how her friend do not like the Kardashians, allegedly. Because her friend was contacted by one of them to purchase some stuff, and how the Kardashians allegedly stole the friend's idea because they had a clothing brand and what have you. Long story short, by one person's experience made that friend support her friend to the point that they don't like those celebrities, right? But here is the karma of it all, people. When people steal, when people act like they're not stealing, like they come up with the idea on their own when they know in fact that they are stealing, it will come back to bite them. Because lately, that famous family have been going through a whole bunch of alleged lawsuits or stuff and whatever. I haven't been keeping up, but just seen the glance here and there. So it's kind of like, just leave people to time. You know what I mean? Especially when people know in their hearts that they're not doing it legitimate. So I say all of this to say that I've seen where YouTubers make it up and get those million subscribers only to have a breakdown. I've seen a lot of that throughout the years, only to see that they couldn't handle the pressure. You reach your goal, and then it's like, okay, now I reach it, now what? You know what I mean? Where do I go from now? So there was never a contingency plan or a plan B or C, like, okay, I reach 1 million, now what? You know what I mean? And I know exactly how that feels because my goal was to always have a house. And then when I finally obtained the house, I just felt like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? That was such a huge accomplishment. Now what? You know? But owning a house have so much responsibilities, guys. So much. It's such hard work to keep up with a house. So much. So I say that being a content creator, you have to ask yourself, what are your real reasons why you're going into it? And I know I made some notes here as well. Is it because of how many subs? I put in all that work. It's all about the analytics. There are some people that look at the numbers more than you know. I don't look at the numbers. I may look every day as far as how many subscribers. And I actually check for the comments because I like when people comment and I want to comment back to them. Should I quit? Why did they comment that? You know, especially for those who get a lot of comments. Some of the comments, like somebody commented, and you know if you write something bad, I'm going to call you out. So somebody commented on my YouTube podcast page and said, shame on you, for, because I was talking about Kate Middleton on that episode. And they were like, shame on you for talking about conspiracy theories. And I was going to delete it. I was like, nope, they spent their time to write it, so it's going to stay up there for the whole world to see. Now, there are some comments that I do delete only if I feel like it's going to put somebody else that's reading it down a different path, you know, or that's not what I was doing or saying, or the message was lost or something and you went completely left, and I will delete it. But other than that, I will leave it up. I don't want to do all of these works. These are these thoughts that are going through a person's head when they're a content creator. Why are they copying me? Why am I doing it? I love doing it. I have so many cameras. I'm taking a break. I'm back. How many times a year do I go through this? Do I look okay to film? So there's a lot more that I can go through as far as being a content creator. These are just my experiences. I have not had the pleasure of being an influencer, but like I said, in my own little head, I feel like I am an influencer because, like I said, there are certain things that I say and do in my videos on YouTube that I feel like other people are taking note of it or whatever. And there are some people who have reached out to me. I do see it because they're actually in my spam part of my Instagram page where it doesn't come in directly. They're like filtered through to another section of Instagram where I have to constantly remind myself to check, which I rarely don't. That have reached out to me because they do want me to try on certain clothing or jewelry or something, and some have even reached out in regards to pet clothes and stuff. Sorry if I haven't responded to you all, but in my head, there's so many scammers out there right now. I'm very reluctant. Very reluctant. I don't know. Maybe if I pray about it, I don't know. I just hate to go through the whole. I just have a feeling in my head like if I respond, then people will be like, oh, it's free, and then come back and like, oh, we're going to charge you and whatever, you know? So I don't have a problem where it's something that I buy, especially at the farmer's market or at the store or at the supermarket, and I'm showing you guys, and then I'm promoting it and I'm promoting my own products for my own business. I don't mind that. But when somebody reaches out to me, and it's not like a big name brand, and I and I don't know who you are, and it's you have to forgive me because I completely get it from a small business perspective of what you're trying to do, but there's also the bad people in the world mess it up for all the good people that are out there who are honestly just trying to just promote their business. And so maybe one day I'll just have faith enough to trust, um, and click on it and reply. So you never know. But guys, I just wanted to come on here. This is going to be a short episode. I just want to come on here and say I am back for season 25. It's not how I wanted it to be, but I said, you know what? Let's just jump on the bandwagon and get these episodes out, okay? Let's get these episodes out before it's too late. And then next thing I know, it's season 26. But guys, I'm happy to be back. I am eventually going to put out the videos on YouTube, and on the Instagram page, which is Goten Lisa Podcast on Instagram. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, my schedule is very hectic. I had to really prioritize me. After everything, I said to myself, what the heck am I working so hard for, and I'm so tired? And I'm like, how did I make it work last year? Why is this year different from last year? Okay, so I said, you know what? I need to prioritize me. So what does that mean? That means that I get up in the morning and I thank God for waking me up, and I say my prayer and I read my Bible verses, and then I go and work out. That's the only thing. Everything else falls afterwards. And that's the only, because then I come up with excuses. You know what I mean? And there are days that I will not work out, I granted, but I'm back on the grind and I have to be and force myself. Lately, I've just been snoozing. I think because I've been working since 14 years old, and I think the majority of my life, I have been getting up early. Early, like 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock for years on top of years, getting up early. And what I've also come to realize is that I am so disciplined to work and get up and do the work for somebody else? Why the heck am I not putting in that same discipline for my own brand and my own business? That is the other question that a content creator has to ask themselves. That's what I've asked myself over and over. Is it because I know I have the flexibility? Is it because I know that I will eventually do it? Remember, I used to tell you guys that I'm the kind of person where I like structure and I don't like to do stuff last minute. Well, guess what? People? Since of late, I've been doing stuff at the very, very last minute. Can you believe that? And it's like a rush. And I was like, I was never this kind of person. And here I am, that kind of person. And I'm like, I don't like it, but it's kind of like getting me geared up to like get motivated to do it, but I don't like it. I kind of like the structure and I kind of like don't like the structure. I'm in a weird, weird spot. I'm kind of like in a, I don't know how to, like a transition kind of like trying to find that sweet spot where I get to do me and what I want to do first, and I know that God will provide everything afterwards, if that makes sense. Instead, I was doing it the opposite, getting up to work, doing whatever, trying to fit in the work in, trying to do this, trying to do that afterwards. And I'm like, no, I actually feel better when I do what I do early in the morning, because then I know I've accomplished it and it's already out the way, and then I can get the rest of the stuff. But my schedule's still busy. I have tons of notebooks here, guys. You can hear the papers, tons of notebooks and journals of me writing down stuff. And even all of that writing down. Oh, by the way, I'm flipping through the book and I'm finding this little, I have little notes and whatever, but I have this little prayer thing that was in here. I need to read it afterwards, but it's all over the place. It's like it needs to be a little bit more organized as well, you know? And it's like, and by the way, I wanted to give a little update from season 24. Remember I told you that one of my aunts got fired? Well, she actually has a great job right now. And what was so interesting is that she said that she's been praying about it. So, it's like, I feel like people, you don't know who it is that you are touching, as far as them looking at your actions and what have you. I've never once heard my aunt, that particular aunt, say anything about prayer before. And lately she's been telling me that she's been reading her Bible and praying. And I was like, wow. And then she always comments and say, yeah, you and one of my other sister, you always grew up in the church. You were always at the church. And I was like, yeah. So it's kind of like now, I don't know. We never talked about it, but lately we have been. So you just don't know who is watching you, and that's part of being an influencer. That's part of being a content creator. You don't know, forget about the copycatters, because they will always copy because they're not original. I am original. But you just don't know who it is that you're influencing. You don't know who it is that's looking to you. And a part of me just want to cry from saying that, because it's like, I meet so many people each week, guys. It's not just from the farmers market. Like I said before, I do other work as well. And I meet a lot of people during the week. And I come in contact with them. And you just don't know. You just don't know. So I say all this to say that whether you're a content creator, whether you're an influencer, or maybe you're not even any of those, you're simply just you. You just don't know who it is that you're impacting. You don't know who it is that's you're shining your light on them. You don't know who you're uplifting with your words. You don't know with your comments. You don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know. So I'll leave that with you guys for now so you have food for thought. And I hope that you guys subscribe. Until next time, you're listening to Go 10 Lisa Podcast with Lisa Waldron, where you can find a new episode each week by typing in Go, the number 10, followed by LISA, is all one word. Go 10 Lisa Podcast can be found on any podcast app. Just type it in, subscribe, listen, tell a friend, and listen each week. You'll see my pink hair is also available on YouTube. Until next time, peace, love. Bye.